as she begins her two-day state visit to Kenya. Samia and her counterpart President Uhuru Kenyatta are also expected to address a joint conference at State House in Nairobi following talks between the two leaders. The visit to Kenya in what is widely seen as efforts to foster relations between the two countries, occasioned by economic competition which escalated under the administration of the late Tanzania President John Pombe Magufuli. Kenya had also been uneasy with Tanzania's lack of COVID-19 response plan. However, since she took office, President Samia has shifted the approach to COVID-19, picking a task force to advise on Tanzania's response to the pandemic. Earlier on, I spoke to the East African Community Secretary General Peter Mathuki on the significance of the visit and what it portends for the region.
What exactly do you think is the significance of President Samia Suluhu Hassan's trip to Kenya? Coming at a time Kenya and Tanzania has been having shaky relations.
Thank you very much. Again, as you know, this is my first week in office. And again, I start by thanking the heads of states, members of the summit, for their trust, confidence, and faith in this assignment. I'm aware the assignment brings in a lot of expectations in terms of strengthening the role of the East African community and bringing out community back to the people. And that is a role I am going to do for the next 5 years. But most importantly, based on what you're asking, is when you look at the treaty establishing East African Community, which is a very important document, it brings out the need for cooperation among the partner states. And therefore, this is anchored on a political goodwill. So when you see heads of states really visit other heads of states, that is a demonstration and commitment to political goodwill, to regional integration. And I think this is what this is what the visit signifies. Their commitment of political goodwill that is existing within and among the partner states. So I think this is something we at the East African community, we are encouraging to continue bilateral engagements, even where necessary engagements, even within the framework of the East African community. And indeed, when you look at the treaty again, it provides for what we call variable geometry in terms of how partner states can still proceed on their mutual understanding and relationship on a number of issues. So I think this is quite exciting that this is happening. About, I think 2 weeks ago, you also saw President Samia Suluhu visit Uganda. And I think that is the same spirit, saying we need each other. We need each other really to strengthen this cooperation. And they're realizing that as a community, as a partner states, the need of being together as a common and one region, it will be very helpful and beneficial to the citizens of East Africa, to the private sector, and also to the business community and to the people of, and again, when we are approaching the entire world as a community, we are able to engage and even, negotiate from a very strong, point of view. And that is why I think this is a message that is coming out by the visits by the heads of states, and particularly this particular visit by President, Our Excellency, President Samia Suluhu Hassan. And this is something that we all support and align to as the East African community.
All right, so then apart from just, talks and building the relations between the two countries, what should we expect in terms of trade deals between the two presidents?
Remember, now as where we are as a community and where we have been, the intra-EAC trade is still something work in progress. And this is something that we need to work on to ensure that we intra-EAC trade increases. I think now it is possibly oscillating around below 20%. So we want to see intra-EAC trade happening almost at about 50% or more, like other regional blocks all over the world, where the intra-EU, for example, is above 60 or 70. and so is the ASEAN country. So I think their talks and the need to engage closely is all geared towards increasing intra-EAC trade. And I think this is something that is likely to be achieved if these consultative meetings really continue. And this will happen if we handle issues like, for example, non-tariff barriers that have been existing, between partner states. And I think these are things that will require, government-to-government engagements, private sector-to-government engagements. And I think our role as East African community is to facilitate those engagements so that we strengthen the need to be speaking on a platform where we can iron out some of these issues. And where it is necessary, as a secretariat, our role is to facilitate and make sure that we implement some of the decisions that are made by heads of states, and we'll be available definitely to do that. Secondly, is how to ensure mechanisms of resolving trade disputes happen. And this is something we are working on as a secretariat by putting in place systems that will support whenever there are some disputes to do with trade disputes. How can we ensure that there is a framework that should be able to handle some of these things? And I think that is on top of our agenda as a secretariat. And that is something we are keen on so that we can support partner states to continue doing business between and among themselves.
Right. You've said you just, assumed office. It's only been 1 week. Congratulations, by the way. But then do you think the integration plan will actually work, and will we meet the timelines?
You see, this is an important, and that's why we have the community together. When you look at the founding fathers of the community, they envisioned a community that is working together, that is cohesive. And that is our role as a secretariat, to make sure that integration works. For example, you must appreciate that given the 4 pillars of regional integration, the first one is customs union. And a lot has been done and achieved within the customs union. For example, we have movement of goods at least happening between, partner states within the framework of the common, tariffs. And that is why it's important that we have this. And by the way, East African community, going by the report of World Bank, is one of actually the fastest growing regional economic blocks. Actually, it's number 1 in Africa. And number 2, the second pillar, which is common market, that brings in the movement of people, labor, and services. And that is something that we have achieved because now we have situations where citizens can move from one country to another using national identity cards. And this is something that we are keen to ensure it's rolled out in all the partner states once systems and mechanisms are in place. So each partner state seems to be ready and preparing towards putting mechanisms in place to ensure this works. Thirdly is the issue of single visa. Situations where partner states of the EAC are keen to have single visa arrangements, where if we have a tourist coming from outside Africa or whatever, outside East Africa, they are able to use one visa and be able to travel from one partner state to another. And again, those are mechanisms as a secretariat we are keen to put in place and support everyone so that we achieve these things. And for each partner state to feel comfortable and feel that they are also benefiting from these kind of arrangements. So these are some of the things I would say we have achieved through regional integration. And the third one is a monetary union, which you have said, which is the third pillar of regional integration. And decisions by the summit are clear that we need to move now. Of course, the issue of timelines are there, but also it's important that partner states are ready and prepared at every stage so that we don't do things and then we come back to them again. So I think in the wisdom of those, trying to work around monetary union, there must have been back and forth trying to see how do we harmonize the fiscal and monetary policies of the partner states of the EAC. And I think that situation is in safe hands. Now we are talking of having, for example, under the monetary union, having a monetary institute. And already from the secretariat, we have written to the partner states for those who have interest or keen to host this, to do so. And of course, there are a number of conditions that come along in hosting those kind of institutions. So those are some of the things that are demonstrating that regional integration is in process, and we are keen to continue supporting going forward.
Right. So then, what laws or
and then of course there is a political federation, which is the fourth pillar. And I can tell you, as we speak now today, there is a team of experts in Kampala briefing the champion of political confederation, that is His Excellency Museveni, on the progress that we are making, and to pick views. They are already getting views from different partner states. They have already done views from the Republic of Burundi. Today they are meeting to brief the champion of political confederation. And they'll go around the partner states so that we make sure that this is achieved. So political confederation is again in progress. And this is what, once it's a success, will inform the ultimate political federation.
All right, so then what laws or policies do you think need to be implemented, especially at this time, in order to speed up the process of integrating the EAC?
I think, again, it's about the decision that have been made by the heads of state summit to be implemented at the partner states level. And of course, there are a number of legal legislation that, again, supports regional integration. For example, like, let's say, the Non-Tariff Barriers Act. And these are acts and legislation that needs to be followed, implemented by different partner states so that they can then support movement of goods from one partner state to another. And I can tell you from where you sit, this is something that is continuous in terms of creating awareness amongst partner states, amongst different stakeholders, and even members of parliament at the national level. Because once these laws are made at the regional level, they need, again, to be, to be informed to different, organs at the national level, so that we are all in sync and support and understand the value of some of these things and what it brings out to our economies and to our partner states.
Okay. All right. You're taking office at a very interesting time. Wrangles over tariffs. We have seen also member states delay remitting, their dues, allegations of corruptions within the EAC. What exactly would you say is your strategy in order to whip members back into action?
I think first and foremost is to understand that this community belongs to all of us, and it's a community for the people and by the people. And this is right in the treaty where it says it is a people-centered regional integration. So we first and foremost is to make the people of East Africa own the process and agree that they benefit from this community. And that will be so if we come out as a secretariat, and this is what is our intention is, to take really this community to the people. One, through creating a lot of awareness and programs on how this community benefits them. Mm-hmm. But also appreciate that, yes, we are taking up this responsibility at very interesting times when we have global pandemic like COVID. And we must appreciate that COVID pandemic has really affected our economies. And I think we are also keen to have very coordinated and harmonized approach on how to respond to this pandemic, but also how to recover, uniformly, as partner states of the EAC. So I think of great importance is economic recovery. And this is some things we want to see. What measures as a secretariat we are keen to put in place and work closely with the partner states so that our economies recover. Once economies recover, that is going to ensure, back to normalcy. And that is why you hear issues of financing and so forth. But importantly, when we say that this community belongs to the people and they know the importance of this, it's again important to see what value as a secretariat we want to bring to the people and to the partner states so that they can get motivated to pay. And these are some of the things we want to continue demonstrating continuously, that this is their community, it is for the people, and people are really benefiting from this particular. Thirdly, the issues of the image of the community are very key. And that is something we want to hold above board so that everyone, dealing with the community is a community, governed by rules, governed by the treaty. We have rules on how to handle administrative issues where there were gaps. So I think it's about strengthening systems so that these systems are followed and the institution, gets its credibility and on matters of good governance. And I think this is something we are keen to, and we are working already as a team internally now already. I've already made a lot of efforts. I've met all the staff and the senior staff for that matter to see how together we can work as a team to ensure that the integrity and the name of the institution is upheld all along as it was foreseen by the founding fathers of the community. And that is something we are ready to do to ensure that no one whatsoever doubts credibility of this institution, because we are working on behalf, as a trustee, on behalf of the people. And there's no way, and no one among ourselves is allowed to do anything that will bring the institution into disrepute.
All right, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate, and all the best with your new term in office.
All right, we continue with Beat. President Samia Suluhu Hassan is in Kenya for a 2-day state visit as we wait for them to come out of those talks and tell us what exactly was discussed during the talks. We continue with that discussion, and now joining me to have that conversation around the state visit is none other than Onchario Yeyo, who is a regional analyst. Thank you very much for joining us here on Bottom Line Africa. How timely is this visit?
Well, thank you so much, Ashley. I think President Suluhu has come to Kenya at the right time. I want to say thank you to the President of the Republic of Kenya, that is His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, for inviting him. Because I think after the passing on of Magufuli, it's only right that Kenya moves in very quickly to establish, a warm working relationship with the new president. Obviously, we all know that Kenya has not been in very good terms with our neighbor, Tanzania. So the president has to set the tempo, the pace for the interaction he's going to have with the new president. So this is the right time. In fact, I think he should have come to Kenya even before going to Uganda. But I think we can still say we are not late. Uhuru is not late. I like the way he extended the invitation, and she's honored that, which is a good signal. It's a good sign. So I think going forward, we have a path which can, of course, dictate how we're going to be able to interact as nations.
All right. You talked about the fact that Kenya and Tanzania have not been having good relations, and most people think this started from the late president, John Pombe Magufuli, but this is not the case, is it? It's not. Actually, it goes back to independence. After independence, of course, our president, that is Mzee Jomo, the founding father, adopted capitalism, which I call, obviously, it was not pure capitalism. It was a mix of capitalist ideas and some kleptocracy, we had an element of too much corruption. But then Tanzanians adopted a different economic theory, which of course was socialism. And it was not, again, pure socialism, because they had the African sense of socialism, Ujamaa. And we took very different paths. Somewhere along the way, I think we disagreed. After the East African Community was founded way back in 1967, it lasted only 10 years. In 1977, Nyerere, blocked or closed the Kenya-Tanzania border, and, the community died. Then from there, we've not had the best of relations all the way back to 1977. So it did not begin like with the president who just died, Magufuli. It dates back to those earlier disagreements. And then again, because of the different market ideologies we adopted, we tend to disagree on so many fronts. Tanzanians tend to be a bit more inclined towards, cohesiveness and unity and working together. But then again, when you look at the Kenyan way of doing things, we've adopted an ultra form of capitalism where it's all about me. That is why, in fact, I think we have an increased element of corruption, because people have to fight so hard. It's some kind of cutthroat battle. In Tanzania, there is a little bit of, unity. There is a shared commitment for the common good. And I think the number of
cases of corruption in Tanzania is very, very minimal. And Tanzanians don't like the kind of culture we have in Kenya. And when you walk around the streets of Arusha, Dar es Salaam, Dodoma, you can pick the mood of some dislike for the way Kenyans do things. But I hope the president can reach out to Suluhu and commit that we have to be able to work together, which means we harmonize. What we do well, Tanzanians can copy, and what we don't do well, we can of course learn from Tanzanians. And remember, because of the kind of culture that Tanzanians have cultivated over a long period of time, Tanzania has more than 120 tribes, but you cannot find them fighting, especially during election periods. They have some kind of harmony, which we don't have here. With less than 50 tribes, we still fight and kill each other during elections. You remember the kind of transition they had after the passing on of Magufuli. It was very peaceful. There was no contest. There was no tension. It was very smooth. For the first time, I think Westerners who like expecting and looking out for chaos during transitions were ashamed. Africans can, hand over power peacefully when a president has died without any kind of. So the Tanzanian example is something we can emulate, and the president, that is the president of Kenya, has a chance in the 2022 election to make sure that, the transition of power from him to the next president is as smooth as possible.
Okay, and we'll see what comes out of that, those talks, of course, that are currently happening right now. But let's just take a look at her itinerary. Tomorrow she's set to address both houses of parliament. Most people are asking, what exactly is the significance of this address? I mean, it's hardly seen. It's there, but hardly.
Yeah, this is meant to actually now reset the manner in which Kenya and Tanzania have interacted over the long period of time they've existed as independent states. So the chance for President Suluhu to address the joint session of parliament is meant to extend a very singular honor to the president, which I think she'll not take lightly. She'll go back home with a message that Kenya has received me with a lot of distinction, with a lot of respect. And I think the president was very thoughtful in coming up with that kind of idea, and it will inform the manner in which Kenya and Tanzania do business going forward. So it might not carry what we can say a tangible, impact, but then again, that is a form of soft diplomacy, which I think will go a long way in telling Tanzanians in general and the president in particular that we hold you guys as our neighbors in very high regard. And in as much as there can be some frosty, relations between Tanzania and Kenya, deep down we have a lot going on, at the border. There's business that is going on that runs to billions of shillings. Of course, Tanzania has been pushing up very well. It's done very well. And I think as of 2020, the difference in trade was very minimal. Tanzania is catching up very fast, but we do a lot of trade. So it's very important for the president of Tanzania and Uhuru, of course, to make sure they can do the same in terms of how they handle their diplomacy, so that now we have this smooth, handling of issues. We've had unfortunate incidents. You remember the chicks, around 12,000, which were, set ablaze.
Yeah.
You remember the cows which were being auctioned after, the Kenyans could not pay some small amount of money. The Tanzanians were not willing to join LAPSET. And then, of course, when Kenya took the diesel SGR, the Tanzanians rejected the offer, the path, and decided to go on with the electric trains. So we have different times when we've not done things as a united, pair of countries. But then I think what the president has done provides him with a fresh ground to now dictate what happens going forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk briefly about the Samia Suluhu Hassan presidency. When during the late John Pombe Magufuli's burial, most people were not so sure, but it seems like she hit the ground running. She's already gone to Uganda. Here we are seeing her in Kenya. She seems to be defying the odds.
Yes. Well, I didn't expect her to have a difficult time because of the culture of leadership transition in Tanzania. Had it been some other place, you could have expected a lot of, rebellions from, guys who are disenchanted or maybe even disgruntled, some malicious guys saying, oh, she's just a weakling or stuff like that. But it never happened because Tanzanians are used to what we call the calm transition of power from one leader to the next. And of course, after the president died, it was just normal that they'd observe the rule of law and respect the constitution, and then let the vice president take over. And then something else I'd like to point out is, in as much as she's a lady, of course, and she's from Zanzibar, which has a small population compared to the mainland, she's a vice president. And for her to be considered for the position of vice president under the first John Pombe Magufuli, she had to be vetted, she had to be scrutinized. Tanzania has a pipeline of leadership through the Chama cha Mapinduzi that is deeply entrenched. So they observe you from the word go and then monitor you as you rise. You cannot find yourself in a position like a tortoise which finds itself on top of a post and then you don't even understand how you got there. They have a culture of cultivating and growing their leaders. So by the time you get to the position of vice president, they've actually vetted you and they're certified that in the event that the president is not able to perform his duties for whatever reason, you can easily become president and deliver. So she's a battle-hardened politician, she's an economist, she's a thinker, she has networks, and that is why she sent a warning when she was sworn in. I'm not just a lady. I am the president, and I'm going to deliver.
Let's see what comes out of those talks between President Samia Suluhu Hassan and President Uhuru Kenyatta. When they make that address, we'll be crossing over live to State House to just listen to it. But thank you very much, Onchari Oyeyo, a regional analyst, just for taking time to discuss some of those issues. We take a short break. We'll leave you with Destination Africa.
This is KTN News. Salad vegetable cooking oil is the clear-flowing secret to tasty meals. Buy 5 liters of Salad vegetable cooking oil today and get 250 grams of Zesta tomato sauce for free. Iflo Kama Salad. Salad vegetable cooking oil available in all cooking outlets countrywide.
Introducing the new salad oil with a spout for easy use. Comes packed with omega-6 and 9 and vitamin A and D, and at a price that doesn't dent your wallet.
Leo utakula nyumbani.
Salad, siri ndio hiyo.
Panadol Extra, now with new Optizorb technology to fight multiple tough pains with 3 times more pain-relieving medicine in the first 30 minutes when you need it most. Seeing them support themselves makes any pain worth it. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Sometimes life gets you to a place you either remain the same or you get up and step up. It comes a time in life that you need to leave some things behind in order to move forward. Leave behind the comfort you relished the most. Leave behind the people you cherished the most. And leave behind the memories of what you accomplished the most. But one thing never stays behind. Your entertainment. Now that's coming with you, wherever it is you're going. That's why we introduce to you the all-new Standard Videos, a new way of consuming your favorite programs on the go. Catch all the sports content, documentaries, farmers content, alongside exclusive videos and lots of entertainment straight from your mobile. Simply dial *395# and subscribe to your favorite shows for only 5 bob. Because wherever you go, Standard Videos lets your entertainment come with you.
Business Today is a hub for small businesses. We tell the stories of success or failure and the lessons that we have learned from small businesses in Kenya.
Experts discuss and analyze the latest business and finance news from across the country and the world.
Because we know these matters are important to you, we take a deep dive to go to the movers and the shakers of the market to bring you matters that matter to you in a way that matters to you.
On Business Today, we not only tell you about what's happening on the local scene, we also take you to the international stage and help you connect the dots and understand what this means back home.
Welcome to the FKFPL Review Show. My name is Robinson Okeny.
Mambo yaliendelea kuwa mazuri kabisa. Haikuweza kuwa rahisi.
The action allowed him not to shoot and Chenje recovered in time.
There was not any clear chance that you could actually give them a goal.
Baraka anafunga bao.
We value your feedback and welcome any comments, queries, or complaints regarding our news content. You can get in touch with us on SMS 22155, call 0719 012 450, or you can send us a letter on Post Office Box 30080-00100, or deliver it to our offices at Standard Group Center, Mombasa Road, Nairobi.
This is KTN News.
Welcome back. This is Bottom Line Africa. Of course, we stay with our top story. Tanzania President Samia Suluhu Hassan jetted in the country this morning. Of course, she's at State House. We saw earlier she was accorded a full military reception as she begins her 2-day visit. On your screen, those are live pictures from State House. We expect both presidents, that is President Uhuru Kenyatta and President Samia Suluhu Hassan, to just come out any time from now to just give us an address and maybe update us on what bilateral talks, what exactly has been agreed between the two countries. Remember, this visit has been seen as a way to repair bilateral ties between Kenya and Tanzania. Remember, the economic rivalry did not start with the late President John Pombe Magufuli's tenure, but it started way earlier. It has gone down in history, and this moment right here is seen as a way to just, repair bilateral talks between the two countries, that is Kenya and Tanzania. To Chad, hundreds of mourners attended the funeral in Chad's capital N'Djamena for 5 protesters killed in demonstrations against military rule. The government said 5 people were killed in clashes on last week on Tuesday. A Chadian civil society group put the death toll at 9, with dozens more injured. Civil society groups joined the mourners, saying they would continue to fight for freedom and justice after the military took power. When long-serving president, let's just head back to State House. We're seeing President Uhuru Kenyatta and President Samia Suluhu Hassan coming out to address.
Samia Suluhu wa kuweza kumaliza ziara yake.
Serikali na wananchi wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na kukaribisha hapa Kenya kwa ziara yako ya kwanza ya kirasmi katika taifa letu la Kenya. Na tunasema hii kwa ukweli ni safari ya kihistoria, safari ambaye yaelekeza uhusiano wetu kama nchi mbili, nchi ya Jamhuri ya Tanzania na Jamhuri ya Kenya, na uhusiano wetu ambao umeenda na umeanza kule ambapo tulikuwa tunapigania uhuru wetu. Lakini pia ni safari ya kihistoria kwa sababu ni safari ya kwanza kutembelewa na rais, mama wa kwanza katika jumuiya yetu ya Afrika Mashariki, rais wa Jamhuri ya Tanzania. Na kwa hivyo tunakupongeza, na tunakupongeza sana kwa nafasi ambayo umepatiwa kuiongoza nchi ya Tanzania, na pia tukupongeza kwa uchaguzi wako hivi karibuni, wakati ulichagua kuwa mwenyekiti wa chama tawala, Chama cha Mapinduzi CCM. Hongera sana, hongera sana kwa safari hii yako. Inatupatia nafasi ya kurenew bilateral relations zetu, na sisi kwa upande wetu tunataka tukuhakikishie ya kwamba taifa la Kenya na serikali yangu itakuwa wa mstari wa mbele kufanya pamoja nawe na serikali yako kuhakikisha ya kwamba umoja wetu, haswa umoja wetu kama mataifa ya Afrika Mashariki, umoja wetu kama nchi jirani utaendelea kuimarika na uwe uhusiano wa kudumu na ambao utakuwa wa manufaa kwa wananchi wa nchi zote mbili. Leo hii tumepata nafasi ya kuongea pamoja na Mheshimiwa Rais mambo ambayo yanahusu nchi zetu mbili, nchi ambazo zimeunganishwa sio tu kwa kijiografia, lakini kwa culture common ambaye tuko naye. Tumeunganishwa pia kwa lugha, tumeunganishwa pia kwa heritage ya nchi zetu mbili ambazo zote ni share, pamoja na kinship ile ambayo tuko naye kati yetu, ambaye imeanza kutoka enzi za babu zetu. Sisi kama Wakenya washikilia nchi ya Tanzania sio tu kama nchi jirani, lakini kama nchi ndugu. Ndipo wakati nilimkaribisha mara ya kwanza Rais Suluhu Hassan, nilimkaribisha kwa kumwambia karibu nyumbani, kwa sababu hapo nyumbani. Tumepata nafasi ya kuongea mambo mbalimbali na tumekubaliana ya kwamba tuta re-energize ile Joint Commission of Cooperation kati ya nchi zetu mbili, na mawaziri wetu wameambiwa wahakikishe ya kwamba wanakutana mara kwa mara, kuhakikisha ya kwamba wanaendelea kuzingatia uhusiano wetu na kuweza kutatua shida ndogo ndogo ambazo zinasumbua wananchi wetu wakati wanafanya biashara kati yao, wakati wanatembeleana kati yao, wakati wawekezaji wanakuja aidha kutoka Tanzania ama kutoka Kenya, kuhakikisha ya kwamba tumerahisisha mambo yote ya kibiashara, ya kiuchumi, ya kiculture ambayo itatusaidia kujenga taifa letu la Kenya na taifa letu la Tanzania kwa njia ambayo itakuwa ya manufaa kwetu sisi wote. Tumekubaliana pia ya kwamba mambo ya mawasiliano tutaendelea kuona vile tutayaimarisha, kutoka safari za ndege, safari za reli, safari za kupitia baharini na kule upande ya kanda ya ziwa, safari za barabara, na pia tukasema tutaweka haswa importance ya kuharakisha barabara ya kutoka upande ya Malindi kuelekea Lungalunga mpaka tufike Bagamoyo. Pia tukasema ya kwamba tutafurahia sana tukiona tukiweza tena kuanzisha safari zetu zile zilikuwa zipo kule Lake Victoria, wakati wananchi na mizigo ilikuwa inatembea kutoka upande ya Jinja kuja Kisumu kuelekea kule Mwanza na Bukoba, na ikarahisisha wakati huo mwenendo wa wananchi wetu na kuzalisha pia biashara kati ya wananchi wetu. Kwa hivyo tumepata nafasi ya kuongea mambo mengi ya muhimu, pia mambo ya usalama wa nchi zetu na wananchi wetu, na vile tutasaidiana kuhakikisha kwamba tuko na usalama kati yetu, kati ya wananchi wetu, haswa tukielekeza mambo ya kupigana na ugaidi katika sehemu. Tumekubaliana pia ya kwamba na tumeweka mikataba haswa ya mambo kuhusu kujenga pipeline ya gas kutoka Dar es Salaam mpaka Mombasa, na hiyo itarahisisha bei ya stima katika nchi yetu na itasaidia pia kuhakikisha ya kwamba industry zetu zinaweza kupata pia stima na energy ambaye ni environmentally friendly katika taifa letu la Kenya. Tumesema pia ya kwamba tuko na mkataba mwingine ambao tumeweka kidole wa kuhakikisha ya kwamba tuimarisha uhusiano wetu kwa mambo ya culture, social integration, national heritage, ambayo italeta wananchi wetu pamoja hata zaidi, na mambo mengine mengi kuhusu mambo ya utalii, mambo ya aviation na mambo mengi ambayo tumeweza kuongea. Yote siwezi ni yaseme hapa. Nataka kumalizia tu kwa kusema ya kwamba tuko na furaha tele. Tuko na furaha tele siku ya leo tukikukaribisha, kwa sababu wewe tunakuona kama dada yetu, wewe tunakuona kama ndugu yetu, na nchi ya Tanzania na nchi ya Kenya ni kitu kimoja, na safari hii itaenda mbali sana kuhakikisha ya kwamba uhusiano wa nchi zetu mbili utaendelea kuimarika. Kwangu mimi nikupatie ahadi yangu ya kwamba tutaendelea kufanya kazi hapa kwa hapa mpaka tutimize malengo yale waanzilishi wa mataifa letu walitupatia: uhusiano mwema, ujirani mwema, uchumi mwema kwa wananchi wa Kenya na Tanzania na kwa